guest tonight. We're really happy to have her here. Talked to her a few times. She's really a wonderful lady. Louise Hilliard, Caldwell's chief of the First Nations here in Leamington. How you doing, Chief? Welcome to One on One.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. So this is a really good year for you.
This is a big year.
It's a big year. Well, it's a good year too. So tell me, you have something special going on coming up this August.
Yes, we have a land repatriation that we're going to be doing along with our first powwow.
So when is that taking place?
August 12th and 13th.
That's a big thing. So this is a long time coming, if I understand. It's many years.
Well, I guess it's been about 220 some years since we've gathered to sing and dance and drum and socialize together with other First Nations. So yeah.
Okay, later on in the show, we're going to have David, and he's going to be talking to Jason and Councillor Lonnie Dodge regarding the mechanics of the powwow. But what is a powwow for people who are watching right now and don't have a real idea? They think it's more like a fair. It's not a fair, or
well, it probably means a few things to different people, but to me, it's a social gathering. It's bringing our people together so they can socialize. In the past, it was a time when you would form alliances. There'd be marriages, intertribal marriages, and have a good time.
So it's a celebration of the communities, bringing communities together.
Yes.
Now, Caldwell's had always had a presence in the Leamington-Essex County area. Is that correct?
In Southern Ontario.
Southern Ontario. Well, that's my point.
What's now Southern Ontario?
So tell me, the territory is such, and I talked to Dave quite a bit, and he makes it straight. What is a territory and what is a reserve? So your territory was from where to where?
Well, I prefer to say our ancestral lands.
Okay.
So our ancestral lands extended over into what is now United States of America. We had territory there, and it went all the way down to Long Point. Wherever the waters flow, as far as I'm concerned, that's also our territory, because we always use the waterways to do some of our traveling.
And you know, the interesting thing, one of the things the show is hoping to do is to bring that stigmatism that without knowing people and their culture, really it's kind of, there's fear there. So hopefully by you educating us, you know, that fear will go away for most of us. Tell us a little bit more about the difference between calling somebody, let's say, an Indigenous person and a First Nations person, because that is complicated. And there's certain people such as myself that might say that out of ignorance and maybe set the record straight, you know.
Well, we are Indigenous, apparently. Apparently, they also call us Aboriginal. We're First Nations. We're original people. We're Indians. And myself, personally, I prefer not to be called Aboriginal, but I have no problem with people referring to me as an Indian because I grew up being called an Indian. And I think I have enough intelligence about me to know whether or not I'm being insulted. And you can insult people with some of the nicest words. So I think that I'm astute enough to determine if someone is insulting me when they use the word Indian or not.
So here we are, 2016. Looking back even 10 years, or even let's go back even further, 20 years ago, has things changed for First Nations people in Canada?
I would say not really. It's in my mind, it's somewhat like a soap opera. You watch it every day, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, you stop watching it, and you come back a year or 2 years later. Same thing, you haven't missed a thing. And I feel like that's the way it is with our First Nations. Nothing has changed, although at this point in time, First Nations people are saying we've had enough. And they're looking for change. They're looking for a lot of change with our leadership, with our people, with our young people in education, returning back to the communities to help us. It's something that we're looking forward to. It's something that we've been doing very quietly, I guess. And I think as more of our young people become educated, that's going to show up more and more in the presence that we put out there before the public. So we're not just sitting still. We are moving, we are making advances, but the advances that we're making, I think, are within our own communities. We're going to be advancing on other areas. So we've already let our presence be known when we did the walk to the Ambassador Bridge. We made sure that people knew who we were, what we're capable of, and we did it very peacefully.
Do you think that young people are leaving the reserves and that's creating more of a problem?
A lot of the young people are leaving the communities. They're leaving the communities because of a lack of economic development. That opportunity isn't there for them. And we need to have the government, I'm going to say, loosen up on those constraints that keep us from having those economic development opportunities right there for our people.
And do you feel education played a big role, having?
In part, yes, a big role. And it's, I'm going to say, I think advancing our people into the business and corporate world as well. We have to go there in order to compete effectively.
So do you, and maybe I'm taking us a little bit out of topic from the powwow, but I think it's important for most people that are watching tonight or today that you as First Nations are very progressive. You're trying to not only bring a nation from nothing, because people don't quite understand what a reserve is. Can you tell us what the reserve means within the municipality of Leamington? Let's start there.
Well, I think a lot of First Nations no longer refer to it as a reserve. It's a community. Okay. It's the nation. For us, we're creating that area. And I guess for our creation purposes, because the Department of Indian Affairs does not have a policy to deal with the creation of a reserve, we're falling under the additions to reserves, which is what existing reserve communities would do when they wanted to add land to their land base. They would go to additions to reserve. And so that's what we have to fall under because there is no creation policy.
So that's got to be extremely hard for you to do this.
Well, with the settlement, we were given money, but with that money, we have to buy land. We have to buy land from a willing seller. And it can get costly. And once we have the land, we're not done yet. Now we have to do environmental assessments. We have to do land surveys. We have to, in some instances, do a cleanup on the land because there's something toxic there that would be detrimental to the health of our people. So we have to clean that up before we can even submit it to the ATR process. So
would you say that you have the same challenges that any municipality or any city or any country would have, ideally?
We probably have more.
I hear you. So getting back now to the good word of the powwow, that's happening in August, and it's my understanding you have a good team. You have a fellow from out west, Jason Goodstriker. And tell me about him. I mean, how did you end up finding this fella?
Our Director of Operations recommended that we speak with Jason, and so he made those initial contacts, and we had our one band counselor, Lonnie Dodge. We selected him to be the lead. And so they met. We also met with Jason, and we thought, this is a good fit. And we also attended the powwow in Toronto this past weekend. And if there was any doubt about Jason's abilities, they're certainly gone now. I had some of our band members that were with us, and their comment to me was, "Is this the man that's going to do our powwow?" And I said, "Yes, it is." And they said, "Oh my goodness, you got the best." I said, "Well, we try."
Good for you. So tell me about the Toronto powwow. I hear that you had an announcement there.
Yes, Jason arranged for us to actually be able to speak to the audience and to extend an invitation to them to attend our powwow. And we're very grateful for that. that was very, I'm going to say, a very nice opportunity for us to get the message out to the public that we are doing this powwow. It's very sudden. Once the decision was made, it was boom, let's get to work, we got to move. And that's what Lonnie has been doing. Lonnie and Jason, they've been moving right along with getting things situated, settled, decided upon. Contracts are being initiated with the different service providers that we're going to need to make sure that some of those accommodations for people coming on are going to be met. Porta johns, water,
The usual
safety.
stuff that goes on, yeah.
Yes.
So, well, listen, it's great. It sounds like it's going to be the event. It sounds like it's the event to watch out for this area. So, best of luck to you in August, Chief. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you a little bit more about it. So when we come back from the break, we're going to be talking to David, and Jason's going to join us, as well as Councillor Lonnie Dodge. So don't go away.